Welcome back to Gooner Fanzine TV after Arsenal's thrilling 3-2 victory over Everton on Sunday afternoon. With Dan the Man, we're in the shadows of the Emirates and we've just come straight from Mikel Arteta's press conference. I'll obviously give my opinion as Arsenal correspondent for Varvel. Dan's going to give his opinion as Arsenal correspondent for the Islington Gazette newspaper. So first off, Dan, what was your take on Arteta's presser?
Another good press conference. After what we had earlier in the season of, trying to decipher the ramblings of a madman, basically, Arteta is a breath of fresh air. He talks really well, gets his points across, little tidbits of, nice stuff you can use in the story, obviously looking at it from a journalistic perspective, but it gives the answers you want, straight talker, to the point, not afraid to call people out if something's gone wrong. So, yeah, really, really refreshing. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, for me, I completely agree with everything you say there. But for me, the only show in town during Arteta's press conference was Aubameyang, basically. Not just because he scored the 2 goals that sealed victory, that meant Arsenal go into 9th, which is the highest position for a long time, basically. But it was more the fact that Arteta was sort of, asked his take on Aubameyang's future.
Yeah.
And he was very explicit in terms of his praise for Aubameyang. What was your take on that first?
Well, rightfully praised, obviously 2 goals, putting a real captain's display. I think the thing that really interested me was when he was talking about the work rate that he's putting in now. And he said, when I came here I had 2 questions. It was about, can he do it? Has he got the mentality to do it? Does he want to do it? And can he physically do it? And he said, he's proved he can physically do it. He's doing it every 3 days, I think he said. Obviously busy schedule for Arsenal at the moment.
Yeah.
So he's proven he can physically do it, and I think that mindset is there now. And he said he's someone who needs to feel fulfilled and needs to feel appreciated. And I think, for the impact he's having and the work he's putting in, he really is. So interesting that he mentions the mentality thing. I think it was quite a bold statement to make, to almost in a way question a player's mentality before he arrived. He did say, he was obviously in a tough situation before he became boss. Obviously, he was basically being relied upon to win games and get something out of games for Arsenal, so there was a lot of pressure on him. But yeah, it's quite refreshing to hear a manager come out and say, I wasn't particularly happy with the player to start with, but now they're stepping up and making that difference.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I completely agree. The fact that he would come out and sort of hint at potential issues in terms of temperament and attitude, I think that's really refreshing, because he wasn't hanging him out to dry in any way. He was saying, well, I had doubts about him, but they've been proved completely wrong because of his attitude and because of his play, basically. But more because of his attitude to start with and his hard work, which is fed into to results on the field, basically. So I was really pleased with that. And it's not the first time he's done that either. He did that for Reece Nelson, didn't he? He hinted at him before as well.
For a number of players, but I think it goes back to I think he said in his first press conference, and it was something that we really picked out as a key talking point. He said, I'm going to be ruthless.
Yeah.
And he's not afraid to call out his players. Yeah. Obviously, there was the issue with Guendouzi last week, wasn't in the squad. It was quite, to the point about saying, if you don't train well, if the attitude's not right, you're not going to get picked.
Yeah.
So, it's refreshing to have a manager who's going to come out and say exactly how he feels, rather than beating around the bush and trying to make friends.
Yeah.
So, really, really good.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm really, really pleased with that. And obviously his display was really good, and Arteta held that as well, didn't he? He just said, it's great that he's scoring goals, but he offers so much more as well in terms of his attitude and as captain, basically.
Yeah. Well, I was saying this in the player ratings video. I think we're going to see him out on that left-hand side more often than not now. We'll see a lot of competition through the middle with Lacazette and Ketia now coming through and making an impact, Martinelli as well. So I think we will see him pushed out wide more often, and obviously in that position the work rate has got to be there. You've got to help your full-back. But he's doing that.
Yeah.
Every game under Arteta, we've seen him do that. He's worked really hard. He's led as a captain should.
Yeah.
So, fair play to him, and he keeps putting in that shift.
Absolutely. What else did he say? He talked about Kolasinac's injury briefly. He just said he's been assessed and he looked in a lot of pain, didn't he?
Yeah, well, it was obviously asked, was it dislocation? He came off with his arm, in a makeshift sling, didn't he? We saw the same thing when Tierney dislocated his shoulder. He kind of had that makeshift sling. So hopefully it isn't dislocation. Arteta was very clear that he doesn't know yet. He's being assessed tomorrow, and we'll find out. Hopefully it's good news and not a dislocation, because that'll be another fall back on the shelf for 3-4 months.
Yeah, absolutely. And he obviously touched on the fact that it's been a tough week for Arsenal. They've 3 games in 7 days. Obviously the 4-0 victory over Newcastle, good second half. They expanded a lot of energy, then went to Greece. Arteta was asked about his sort of the way he sort of approaches a European away game, and he was quite sort of effusive and articulate and expansive in terms of his preparation and what he believed in, because he basically said, we don't fly back straight away. We stay over there, we eat in the morning, and then we fly back in the morning, don't we? I think that's quite good, to be fair.
I mean, it's not the first time he's done something like that. He's obviously, new into being a manager, and he's been asked a lot about certain things that he does off the pitch, the way the teams run, stuff like that. And obviously, he talked about that we didn't fly home straight away. We stayed in Greece because, the food's better. We can have the chef there to cook the food. Don't have to eat on the plane, get better sleep, whatever. Analyse the game straight afterwards with a team meeting rather than, arriving back 3, 4 a.m., adding to that tiredness ahead of today's game. But I really like the fact he's open and honest. He's willing to talk about stuff like that, and it gives the supporters, for me as an Arsenal fan, not just looking at it as a journalist, it gives me that thing of he really does care and he's bothered and he wants to do this properly and he's going to do it his way and he's going to do it right. Yeah, absolutely. It's such a professional approach. Yeah. And I must admit, it's something that I've talked about with friends for years, basically. I'd never understood why teams fly back straight away. Because, I've done European games. We've done European games when you come back sort of 3, 4, 5 in the morning and you're knackered. You're absolutely shattered. Why not stay overnight in a hotel, in a nice plush hotel, wake up leisurely, have breakfast, have a bit of a chat, have a debrief, and then sort of fly afternoon? Because it's still only, if we're talking in the framework of this week, you still only come back Friday afternoon. And what else would you be doing? You wouldn't be training anyway if you flew back at 4 in the morning. So I think it's a really, really good idea. And I think it just shows the professionalism and the thought that goes into Arteta's sort of management. You're absolutely right. Just in terms of Carlo Ancelotti as well, he was obviously he gave his press conference too. He said he was disappointed, but on the performance that Everton gave, he couldn't have seen any other sort of result really. I mean, that's Carlo Ancelotti really, isn't it? I must admit, I do like him for lots of reasons. He's a really wily character. I like really interesting sort of experienced managers who've got good talker, and he's obviously, he's got a take on the game that's not just about the game. He's lived a sort of long life, and he knows what's important and what's not important. Basically, I know I like him, and he always answers the question honestly. Basically, and what was your take on the fact that he sort of said Everton, they played well, but they didn't deserve anything? I don't think I necessarily agree with that, to be honest. I thought maybe more due to Arsenal's defensive frailties, which unfortunately reared their ugly head again. That Everton really had a chance to take something from that game. Obviously, 2 goals that Arsenal really created for them in a way, but that last half an hour really dominated the game, didn't they? And they looked like they were going to get an equaliser, but fair play to Arsenal for holding firm in that situation. I thought they possibly could have deserved a draw, but, Arsenal won at the end of the day, and that's all that matters. So yeah, absolutely, yeah. I must admit, another reason I like Ancelotti as well is because when he obviously managed Bayern Munich, when they beat Arsenal 5-1 twice. I went to both of those games. Oh, I'm so sorry. It was quite a depressing time, as I'm sure you guys remember. But I remember being in a press conference in Germany and at the Emirates before and after the game, the night before and after the game. And Ancelotti showed real compassion to Arsene Wenger and Arsenal as well. Not pity, compassion. And I think there's a difference, basically, whereas someone like a Mourinho would have just really stuck the knife in. Exactly. And there was no need to do it. And Ancelotti almost felt sorry for Wenger and Arsenal because I think he basically said, Arsenal are a massive club, we won. That's all I can say, basically, when, a 10-2 aggregate victory was absolutely shocking. And that was one of the things that sort of prompted the end of the Wenger era, really. But I'll never forget Ancelotti showing a lot of kindness to Arsenal and Wenger at the time without being patronising in any way, shape or form. Anyway, we'll go back to Arteta's press conference. So what else was he saying, basically? I'll tell you what he wasn't asked, and you were there obviously as well. Yeah. He wasn't asked about Mustafi's hair. What was your take on his hair? Well, we mentioned this to the player. Did you? Okay, right. Tonight. Terrible. He got a 0 for hair. 0 for hair. Why though? I've got no idea. I've got no hair. I'm so old. I don't know what. Why wasn't that a good haircut? Just out of interest. It's not the real Slim Shady, is it? Shocking haircut. Was it really? Okay. Yeah. Not having that. Fair enough. Keep it simple. So obviously, I just want to know your take on Aubameyang then. Why should he stay at Arsenal? Why should Arsenal keep? Just keep him there at all costs, basically. Well, because he wins games. You need a striker who's going to win your games, gets 1 or 2 chances and scores goals. That's the kind of player he is. Yeah. And he's added that element to his game that we mentioned of working hard, being more of a leader now. There was doubts over whether he could be a leader, but he's proven to me that he can. Yeah. He can, lead from the front in terms of scoring goals, but also work hard for the team and put in a shift. Arsenal got to keep him at all costs, basically. Yeah. The only concern I may have is his age. Obviously, he's 30 or approaching 30, but Arsenal he's coming into his best years, basically, if he's not in his best years now. So Arsenal need to get the best out of him. There's no point selling him now. Obviously, he's got, a year to 18 months left on his deal. Exactly. So, you've got to tie him down, basically. And the same with Saka as well, who Arteta was asked about. I thought that was quite interesting what he said on him as well. I'm sure we'll come on to that. But got to keep Aubameyang at all costs for me. I completely agree for what it's worth. They've got to sit him down now. Not just in the summer, but now. Talk to his representatives, get all the pre-sort of contract stuff going and say, look,
sign for another 2, 3, 4 years. You'll be part of a massive rebuilding at Arsenal. You can be the figurehead. You can lead that, and we can really kick on. You go to Barcelona now, you might have a good season, but you'll be a footnote in Barcelona's history. You stay at Arsenal, you can really lead Arsenal into a new era. So I completely agree with that. But Bukayo Saka, for me, I thought he changed the game when he came on. Basically, his energy. I know he made absolutely. I know he made a few errors, and they were basic errors. But I mean, the lad's been playing. He's 18 years old. He's been playing all season, literally 6 months from the last season, at the top level of English and continental football. And he's going to make a few errors. Yeah. But when he was influential, he was really influential. That cross for Eddie to score the first goal as well, it was superb. You watch his off the field running as well, off the ball running, I should say. He's fantastic. I love him a bit. Yeah. Arteta, reading between the lines, looks like he's slightly frustrated with the delay in contract talks, or is he frustrated with Saka himself? What do you reckon?
Well, I mean, he said, he didn't particularly think he was at his best today, but he still said there's a lot of room for improvement. Yeah. And again, it goes back to that thing of Arteta's not scared to call out a player. Obviously, Saka's been superb in the past few weeks. Yeah. Average performance, and Arteta's saying, well, he's got to improve, basically. Yeah. Shows what Arteta's like as a manager. He wants that constant improvement, keep growing and keep getting better. So, it's good that he's acknowledging that Saka's nowhere near the finished product. I do think there might be a little frustration over the contract talks, but I don't think we're in a situation where we possibly need to panic yet. I mean, things like contract talks can take a while, can be quite protracted, but I think he'll stay. I don't think we should have any concern about him leaving at this point.
Absolutely. For me, I don't know whether it's a little shot across the bows to Saka. I really hope not, because he's got a fantastic attitude. We've watched him since he was sort of 16, 17 at Arsenal. He's always had a really good temperament. He's always worked hard, always had the right attitude, but I don't know whether Arteta's having a little sort of niggle just to go, look, just don't get too big for your boots, keep working hard, we'll obviously, we'll sort the contract out, basically. And I don't know whether it's more a dig to his advisors or to Saka himself, because Saka has got a really good attitude.
Strikes me as someone who's, necessarily going to push for a move or anything along those lines. I think he's a really mature young man. That shows the way he plays.
But is it in terms of, you're 17, 18, no one's ever saying no to you.
Yeah, true.
You're thrust into the limelight, you're playing really well, your name's everywhere. That's going to affect anyone, basically. And as much as you're level-headed and you play really, you work really hard and you're really humble, that is going to affect you a little bit. And I don't know whether that was part of it. I'd like to think I'm completely wrong, and I'm not, this isn't coming from anywhere sort of sources or anything, although I will actually try and find out. But at the same time, just seeing Arteta today and in his press conferences earlier this month in Colney as well, he's having a little sort of, he's having a little nudge at Saka, basically. And I'm intrigued to know why, because for me, I think he's played really, really well on the pitch. Obviously, like you say, there is so much more to come, and I think you're absolutely right in terms of he wants so much more to Saka to give so much more as well, and he will, basically. But I'm not sure. I think it's Arteta playing a little bit of mind games there. I hope so, anyway, because you want players to be just level-headed, and you want them to stay at Arsenal, basically. So,
do you want a good Saka stat as well?
Go on.
He's the first Arsenal teenager since Cesc Fabregas in 2006, 2007 to get double figures for assists.
Really?
Yep.
God, it's not bad, is it? Blimey. Yeah. Not bad from left back as well, either. So.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. What else? Anything else from Arteta's conference? I can't remember anything else. It was just it was a Aubameyang show for me.
Focus, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
Just as I said at the start, really refreshing. Really good talkers, to the point, honest. He'll give you nice little bits to lead on, whatever. So just more of the same from him, basically.
Brilliant, fantastic. Thanks for your time, Dan the man. We're finishing off now after Arteta's press conference. I just want to say thank you to everyone who subscribed to the Gooner Fanzine itself. Obviously, thank you for subscribing to the Gooner Fanzine TV, but thank you to those people who forked up 30 quid to subscribe to the fanzine to keep our print version alive. If you're watching this, if you're coming to Arsenal, buy the fanzine, subscribe to keep us going, basically, in terms of our print edition. So thank you so much. Like, comment, share. We're really interested in your opinion today, as ever. On another thrilling Arsenal victory, basically. So, thanks for your time. Keep watching, and we'll see you soon. Cheers.